Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into Proverbs chapter 31. This isn't just any ancient text. It's a fascinating and really powerful blueprint for what ideal character and leadership look like. It's been shaping ideas about virtue and strength for thousands of years.
All right, so right off the bat, verse 1 sets the stage. This isn't just some abstract piece of wisdom. No, this is personal. It's a direct one-on-one lesson from a queen mother to her son, the king. So the whole chapter is essentially royal advice. You can think of it as a queen trying to shape the character of a future leader. I mean, the stakes don't get much higher than that, right? This is all about what it truly takes to rule well.
What's so cool is how it's built. It's got these two very distinct halves. First, you get the king's rulebook. Then you get this amazing portrait of someone who actually lives out all those rules. We're going to see how they fit together to send one unified message about real strength.
Okay, so let's jump into that first section and see what the Queen Mother is telling her son. These are the specific instructions for King Lemuel, laid out in verses 3 all the way through 9. What's so interesting here is how it's broken down into these clear don'ts and do's. On one hand, she's giving these serious warnings against things that can corrupt a ruler. Things like getting entangled in destructive relationships, or, as verses 4 and 5 say, drinking so much that you forget the law and can't deliver justice. But it's not just about avoiding the bad stuff. The other side of the coin is the positive command. You have to actively go out and seek justice for the vulnerable, the voiceless, the poor, and the needy.
So just when you think you've got the king's job description down, the text takes this really dramatic turn. It's like it sets up this ultimate test, not just for the king, but for what he should value most in a partner and, you could say, in his kingdom.
And boom, verse 10 hits us with this huge question. It totally shifts gears and launches into the most famous part of the chapter, this incredibly detailed poem about the ideal partner. The point here is that finding someone with this kind of character, it's like finding the rarest, most valuable treasure imaginable.
So how does the text answer its own question? Well, it paints this extraordinary picture of a woman who isn't defined by her royal status or her looks, but by her actions, her skills, and her unbelievable character. She's a total powerhouse.
I mean, just look at this. This is basically her resume, and it is stacked. This is way more than a hobby. She's a seriously savvy entrepreneur. Verse 16 shows her as a real estate investor. She analyzes a field and then buys it. Then in verse 24, she's in manufacturing and sales, making and selling linen. The big takeaway here is her agency and her economic independence. She creates wealth.
And it's not like her business empire is all she's got going on. Nope, that same strength and drive is right there in her home. She is so diligent. Verse 15 tells us she's up before the sun, not for herself, but to provide for her entire household. And verse 27 just comes right out and says it, she does not eat the bread of idleness. This is all about taking complete ownership for the security and well-being of her people. And this is where it all clicks together, you see? All that incredible strength is perfectly balanced with compassion. In verse 20, she stretches out her hand to the poor and needy. Does that sound familiar? It should. It's the exact same virtue the Queen Mother told the king he had to practice back in verse 9. She's not just a good partner for the king. She embodies the very justice he's supposed to create.
So this is a really crucial point. Verse 22 does mention that she wears nice clothes, silk and purple. But verse 25 tells us what she's really clothed in, strength and honor. These are the internal qualities, her integrity and dignity, that allow her to face the future with total confidence, to rejoice in time to come.
All right, so as we get to the end of the chapter, it does something really important. It concludes by focusing not on her appearance, not on her stuff, but on where her praise comes from and what her legacy is truly built on. So where does her real validation come from? First and foremost, it comes from the people who know her best, her own family. They see her character every single day, and according to verses 28 and 29, their praise is the first honor she receives.
And then, verse 30 just lays it all out on the table. This is the big thesis statement right here. It draws this super sharp line in the sand. Charm, it's deceitful. Beauty, it's vain. They're both fleeting. The one thing, the only thing that lasts and is truly worthy of praise is a deep character rooted in wisdom and reverence.
And it all wraps up with this incredible final thought in verse 31. At the end of the day, her ultimate validation doesn't come from what people say about her, but from the tangible results of what she does, the fruit of her hands. Her legacy is so solid that her own accomplishments speak for themselves out in the public square, in the dates. She has a reputation built on real contribution. It kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What would it look like if our own works praised us?